Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier. Just kidding. Howdy do. So welcome to the Jinx Chaos Theory Podcast, Episode 3, in which case it's more of a podcast-esque video. You can have this open in another tab instead as like background noise as you're working or whatever, or doing your rent climb. You don't actually have to physically watch this video. You can just listen to it. It's great. What we do in this one, as opposed to the main podcast on the other channel, which is just about anything variety, this one's Jinx specific. So we're going to be talking about some quickie news, the Project Jinx stuff, like some final thoughts on that, as well as Jinx coming to Teamfight Tactics once again. So by the time this video is out, she will be live in Teamfight Tactics, and that's kind of why we're including that as well. So for example, first and foremost, some quickie news for like some OG people that were here way back in April when I got affiliated. Well, I got affiliated a while ago now on Twitch, but I said my first emote, like my tier 1 emote, would be a Jinx emote to honor those of you guys who came over from YouTube to help follow me on Twitch, to help me get affiliated and stuff like that. Well, we held the vote for which exact emote we wanted that was like a Jinx themed emote. There's like a Jinx heart we could do. It's kind of like a standard thing on Twitch. Jinx dabbing as a tier 1 emote. The Jinx AYAYA, which was popular and kind of still is. And the AYAYA one won, so I went and drew that one, got it done, got it submitted, got it approved, and it is now our tier 1 emote over on Twitch. So there you go with that one. The tier 1 one is the one you can get for free if you have like Amazon Prime linked to your Twitch account. So you get Twitch Prime for free, and then you can subscribe for free, and then you have the Jinx AYAYA emote. You don't have to do that, by the way, but I'm just saying if that was your plan and that's why you wanted that, well, it is up now, and there you go. For also some people who were around way back in April, we also talked about the fact that college would be ramping up. So one of the bets I made with you guys was if I made it to 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube by Worlds, I would do a Jinx cosplay stream, kind of as something to give you guys a good laugh and such, for supporting me with that big of a number. Because at that point, I probably would be doing less videos because of college, but if with that many subscribers, I would probably be pulling in enough in terms of revenue to make higher quality videos. So if it's going to be less videos, they'd be higher quality, and you guys could get a good laugh out of it. That was the idea. I'm going to leave that on the table. I still don't think we're going to hit it. It's part of why I made that bet, of course. People would have to share my videos like crazy and whatnot. On top of that, though, I will extend it through the end of Worlds. I think that'd be a bit more fair for those people who are really actually invested and interested in trying to see how to make that happen. If you guys can, go crazy with it. That also gives me extra time to still get into more shape than I am. I'm toned, but I could be better. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, for those that were here before the Project Jinx stuff and that wave of people came in, well, I appreciate you new people. Talking to those older people for a second, that's a quick update on both of those things. We have a Jinx tier 1 emote. We'll have more Jinx emotes as I get more subscribers on Twitch too, because they made it after May. You can get up to 5 tier 1 slots. So we'll probably have like Jinx Dab got a lot of votes too, so it'll probably be in there eventually as is as well. So if you're one of the people like, I wanted the Jinx Dab one, it's coming then probably at one point or another. So there you go. And if you're invested in the cosplay one, oh boy. Yeah, I'm extending that to the end of October instead of the beginning, so you have a little bit more time. Oh boy, but whatever. Now let's get on to some stuff you actually care about though, like the Project Jinx stuff. Project Jinx was interesting to me. It saw an influx in my own channel, and like I said, I appreciate all of you new people that are here. Hopefully I can keep you guys entertained and informed on all things Jinx like I tried to do. But one of the things I didn't really do a good job of is providing a space for the people that actually did like the skin. We talked about a lot of the feedback and criticisms of it, and that's because that was the most talked about stuff that I saw, the most vocal stuff and whatnot, but I never really created a, hey, what if you actually just like the skin? What do you like about it? What do you think's good about it? Stuff like that. And so we saw this kind of boil over on the subreddit recently where people were actually mad that people were whining about the skin. And while people have the right to complain about it, especially when the skins team ask for feedback, that's like they want to make the best skin possible. Regardless of, if people really do like the skin or not, if there is criticisms, they do want to hear it as long as you're not, like, mean about it. So I'm in a bit of a middle part where I'm like, they have the right to complain about it, just like you have the right to complain about them complaining about it. That's just kind of how Reddit works. But, like, one thing that was never really talked about was the people that did like the skin. So first and foremost, if you did like the skin, make sure to comment, like, why then do you like the Project Jinx skin? Why do you think maybe it was a good skin? or at least why it didn't maybe bother you, because that was one thing that was kind of stifled on even the subreddit, as accepting as it usually is. That wasn't a topic that was really talked about or got to be talked about, and I feel bad just because it was my job to make these videos for you guys, both to express your criticisms of the skin, but also just to talk about the skin in general, and I kind of neglected that group, and I apologize for it. I should have probably did a lot better of a job opening the dialogue so that those people could also feel like they had a voice too. A lot of the times in the League community, what we tend to see is something called the vocal minority, right? If you don't have a problem with something when it comes to League, you probably don't talk about it, right? Zoe is one of the greatest examples of this. There are probably people out there that have absolutely no problem with Zoe, or if they do, it's very minimum, or they go, hey, yeah, that sucks, but I could have did this better. So they're not very vocal about that champion. So really all we saw were the people being very vocal about how much they dislike Zoe, which leads people to go, then this is only, this is what everybody thinks. That's all you see. Reddit, just in general, the main league's Reddit is like a good example of this, where if all you see on there is complaints by the people who dislike something, because all the people that like it are being silent, then you're going to get this perception that it's everybody that dislikes something, when in reality, let's say it's only 20% of the people that dislike something, but they're the only ones talking. So that's still then all you see. They're definitely clearly the minority, but they're the very vocal minority, so it has this perception, and it creates this like sphere that says, hey, inside of this, it's just nothing but hatred and dislike for this thing, when in reality, it's actually a very small number compared to the whole. Not saying this is 100% the case for Project Jinx, but in neglecting the group that did like the skin, I did possibly create that myself. And as a Jinx YouTuber, and some people's opinion, the Jinx YouTuber, I'm saying it was my job then to facilitate that, and I did not. So I do apologize for those people, because I kind of feel like it's my fault a little bit for not creating that space, because then those people just got shot down really on the subreddit, and that's the place that I mod. It's my job to kind of keep order for a really chaotic champion over there. And it, like I said, usually I'm not really throwing shade at the Jinx subreddit. It really is a great place where dialogue and conversation is mostly possible all the time, but I didn't do that this go around with my videos, and so I basically say I'm sorry, right? Like, by no means, if you didn't like the skin, be vocal about it. The skin seemed, at least acted like they wanted to know, so that way they could, I guess, do nothing but say they did nothing public. I don't know, actually. That one was weird. They did a post where they actually addressed hearing Jinx mains and how vocal they were, and they said they did changes actually with a screenshot, but if you go to the screenshot, it links you back to the original feedback thread for the Project Jinx skin, so you don't actually see what the changes were. Now, granted, they didn't do like the visor and like major changes anyways, but like apparently they said they did do something, and it was kind of weird because there was like a miscommunication with links and stuff, and it was very hard to see what exactly those changes were. So they're there, but they're not like the changes people really wanted changes. So, that's like the main reason why I'm going over this over and over. It's because if you didn't like the skin, it's totally fine. The amount of people that probably didn't buy the skin, that's also totally fine too. Like, I'm saying you can comment if you like the skin. You can comment if you didn't buy the skin. You can be vocal about that too. I'm not right after all, so if you say you hated the skin, I'm not about to smite your comment and delete it unless you for some reason quote-unquote casually slide in like a racist term on the end of it, like has been done on this channel before when Nico came out, which was the weirdest thing. That's a story. I could tell you guys that story, I guess. It was just weird because, like, generally my videos don't do that well in terms of numbers, right? Like, even at almost 2,000 subscribers, and I'm not complaining because, like, people get busy, it's the summertime, they're on vacation, whatever the case, almost 2,000 people don't watch every video, right? Like, that's just how it is. Totally fine with that. That's how YouTube works in general. You look at someone like Markiplier, who I kind of parodied at the beginning of this video, right? It's like, he has, what, 22 million subscribers? Not all 22 million watch every video. Every video, and it's not even someone's taste sometimes. Right? Sometimes you skip a video because they're playing Muddied Heights back in 2016 and you don't like crude humor, so you just skip those videos. Whatever the case is, usually your entire subscriber base is never watching all of your videos, right? And it's like the 10% rule. Really, in reality, you can only reliably count on 10% of whatever your total number is to watch every video. And I bring that up just because people can get busy. That's totally fine. But with that being said, that means when I have videos that suddenly do like 12,000 views and something, it's a bit of a surprise and catches me a little off guard. That's what the first Project Jinx video did, and brought in a good chunk of you guys in that I'm grateful for, because you guys have actually been really awesome. I've really appreciated that you guys came in, were civil, and just are people I can have conversations with about this champion that we all like. So that's really cool. So thank you for that, by the way. But I bring that up to say, usually what this tends to mean is when I do a video and it does that many views that fast, most of the time, outside of this last go around where it was actually really nice, it's not good. Like, for example, we have a thing on this channel that we've done for a couple years now, because it's something that past subscribers have liked, where we do like this early theory craft video in the year about the Victorious skin, and like what we want it to be, why we think it might be this, etc., etc., because I usually pick that champion in the springtime. So I make the video in the springtime so we can talk about what do we currently see in the meta that might be a contender, and it's really cool. The issue here is that it usually kind of works into the SEO, so by the time the actual Victorious skin drops, that video tends to get recommended to a lot of people, and it actually really ticks a lot of people off because they think it's about the actual release of the Victorious skin, and that video then tends to blow up and bring in not a lot of fun stuff. So what does this have to do with the Nico story? The Nico story goes like this. Around preseason is one of the greatest times if you were going to make League of Legends YouTube videos to make League of Legends YouTube videos. Usually in the preseason, Riot pulls no punches. They go all in for all kinds of crazy changes, meta shifts, and rune stuff. It's actually how one of my most popular videos is the Jinx Runes Reforged video that did 23,000 in like a day with the help of Nathield from the subreddit, where we just kind of constructed what we think the new rune system at the time, it was 2017, was going to be like for Jinx. Initially made the video in September, but it blew up in November when the preseason finally hit. Same concept for literally anything. If you're listening to this right now and you wanted to make your own Jinx video, that's probably one of the best times to start doing Jinx content, because it's like a no man's land. It's like a great time to just make stuff and see what happens. So Nico comes out on the tail end of a video I made about huge changes that were coming to a current patch and why I thought Assassins would be coming back. Spoiler alert, I was right. People thought plates were going to make the meta super long because the plates were going to make, lanes stall out and stuff like that. And I saw a change that made me go, no, it's going to be an early game meta, and here's why. People were not happy with it. The video did like 12,000 in a weekend, and it was a video. Let's just put it that way. It was a video that definitely did stuff. But shortly after Nico came out, so I did a Nico video, and this was on like the tail end of that exposure. And for whatever reason, people were nicer in this video overall, but because it came out that Nico was in fact lesbian, like there were some of the weirdest comments that I've ever seen on one of my videos about that. Like that came out, and then suddenly there was just a bunch of stuff about like, I'm not going to quote it, of course, because it was like I said, it was slurs. It was like both racial slurs and homophobic slurs. I'm just like, why? How did you go here? One was a conspiracy theory about like aliens at one point, legitimately aliens, the Outback Ranch, the clan, and some other stuff, and I'm just like, what? And by clan, I mean Ninja Clan. By the way, a Ninja Clan, but aliens, and also somehow slurs. I'm just like, but like, you could have done anything else with your life if you were going to comment on this video, but you did that, and so that was an interesting thing. So I just bring all that up because I do get a little anxious. At this point, I feel I know what my channel is going to do and what each video is going to do for people. It's mainly a Jinx channel for Jinx mains. Whether it's a wrap like we did last year for Jinx's 5th anniversary, whether it's an informative stuff because it's a balance change, whether it's I talked to August while he was streaming and he gave me some information that's already public knowledge. He doesn't ever give me leaks or stuff like that. But, we kind of have an idea of what this channel kind of does right now. But then, so when a video does that well, I tense up a little bit. But it was really great seeing you guys come in and just kind of not be that. Because that, it's like out of left field. It just makes no sense. And it's just always makes me kind of be like, I don't want to check the comments. Knowing full well that like the last several weeks that I've been checking the comments, it's been all nice stuff. It's great, basically. So thank you. So that's a little bit of insight on that, and so that was cool actually to see. Now that video in itself, even though you guys came in and were really nice, people didn't necessarily like the video specifically. It was definitely not really one of the good performing videos when it comes to like dislike ratio. But that's fine. It's whatever. I'm fine with that. I fully understand why that ended up like that, and that's I'm getting a little bit sidetracked from Project Jinx specifically, but I kind of want to give you some backstory on that, and so there we go. flash forwarding, I guess we should say, to the next topic, which would be Jinx in Teamfight Tactics, which we did a video specifically about Jinx coming to Teamfight Tactics, me trying to play her on the PvE and stuff like that. She'll be one of the more expensive units. It'll probably be a lot more rare to get her to be a 3-star, but people do get 3-star Dravens, so it's not going to be impossible, but people are probably going to actually be like gunning for Jinx outside of Jinx mains, because here's the way that Jinx's passive in specific works, because her ability, every champion gets like one ability, and Jinx's ability is a combination of her passive and her Q. Basically, if she lands the killing blow on somebody, within the last second of them dying, or at least auto attacks them within the last second of them dying, it'll count as a takedown for her. Her minigun will gain increased attack speed. If it happens again for a second time, she'll switch to her rocket form, which does AoE damage and also attacks faster as well. So the thing is, there's a gunslinger bonus, which means AD carries can attack multiple enemies at once when you have multiple gunslingers on your board, which means that Jinx will already be attacking multiple enemies in minigun form, and it'll just be a lot easier for her to get to that rocket launcher form. And in rocket launcher form, because she gets excited as well, her attack speed and AoE is so crazy that if you don't have just like a huge meat shield of a front line, Jinx will single-handedly win you every single fight. It's actually kind of insane how powerful she could be, but it's because of the gunslinger bonus specifically, so I wonder how they're going to address that, because that will actually make her busted, and she will have to be nerfed. As much as I love Jinx, as much as I want to be biased, and even, or unbiased even, and say, no, she's actually a lot more balanced than people think she is, with the gunslinger bonus specifically, no, she's not. Now, without the gunslinger bonus, she is balanced, especially with the introduction of Vi and more tools to dive the back line of enemy champion or enemy compositions on their boards. Yes, there are ways to shut her down. She's still particularly squishy. Even when you start getting her leveled up, she still stays relatively squishy as one of her weaknesses, but you can protect her a bit easier. And again, with the rocket form, more accessible, and the gunslinger specifically thing, that's going to be wild to see how that goes. I am excited for it as someone who has unfortunately been playing a lot of Teamfight Tactics. I say unfortunately, I have this problem with Teamfight Tactics, and it is the RNG, but not in the same way that other people have issue with the RNG. For me, it feels like they placed everybody in Iron 2. Because no one's played the game prior to the season, so everybody starts at that low rank, because that's where there's no previous data to compare it to. So I've already climbed up halfway through Bronze 1. I'm almost Silver in about like 4 days. It's not that hard, particularly to climb. You just have to get top 4. You don't even have to win the whole thing to gain LP. It means if you get bottom 4, you lose LP. But with that being said, my problem is every game that I've gotten top 4 or flat out won so far, I don't feel like it's because I've been getting better at the game, right? Like, all you really have to really learn is certain synergies between champions, like, you know, Phantoms, Glacials, Yordles, Demons, Nobles, Knights, Imperials, stuff like that. You have to learn who does what and what compositions work together, Guardians and stuff like that. You have to learn what items combine for what to do what. For example, Needlessly Large Rod and Recurve Bow combine for Rage Blade, which you kind of want for every AD carry, and also Volibear. So if you ever see those, combine them immediately on somebody for Rage Blade. I actually got a 3-star Volibear, and he just took over every single fight, and it was actually disgusting. But there was one game where I won the whole entire thing, and it's because they gave me Karthus before like the second carousel. Which, if you don't know what the carousel is, it's like the midway point between rounds where you can pick up a random champion or random like item that they have. Like, let's say you don't want the champion, you want their item though, you still pick them up, you can sell them, get the item, and that maybe can shake things up to help the people in last place stay in the game and maybe take over. I got Karthus, who's a 5 cost, the most expensive cost champion, and one of the most powerful in the game right now, and I got him so early that no one could counter him. So I literally rode Karthus all the way to the finals, and then won the finals because no one could do anything. And I just crushed it and got so much of a lead, and just snowballed that lead, that like I didn't feel like I had any skill in that. I felt like, hey, the game RNG gave me Karthus super early. I guess I just win. And that's actually one of my problems with Teamfight Tactics as a whole right now, is I don't really feel like it's a matter of me getting better. I don't feel like I went from Iron 2 to almost Silver because like I've warded better, I've had more map awareness, I've done these several things, right? I just did the basic things that everyone really needs to do, which is like, you know, again, what items do what champions do what, and like positioning when you have to deal with Blitzcrank, because Blitzcrank sucks. But that being said, beyond that, it's like I don't, you know, it's like I got what I got, and either I got what I needed champion-wise, or I didn't get what I needed champion item-wise. I won because I got, 6 glacials, 2 phantoms. A phantom automatically basically nukes an enemy unit at the beginning of the game down to 0 life, basically. And then with glacials, it's like perma-freeze everybody. Like, I got that once. That's kind of what I also rode to a victory once. I'm just like, that it's just a matter of, did I get what I wanted or did I not get what I wanted? Because did I roll enough to get stuff, or did I roll a bunch and still got nothing? Like, I don't know how to describe it beyond that. It's not like the item RNG that everybody's complaining about. I don't really care about that too much, because I do feel like it depends if you're tunnel visioning. Like, the thing about teamfight tactics, you want to mitigate RNG. You don't want to tunnel vision on a strat. You want to just go with the flow to be able to climb. But sometimes the flow is still full of rocky rocks, and sometimes the flow is just beautiful, like it's just flowing off into the heavens, and the gates part, and there's just the victory won first place right there waiting for you. And I'm just like, cool, I guess we just win this one. What did I do differently? Oh, I know, I got a Nivea early, so I have 6 glacials already, and everyone's permafroze, and they can't do jack diddly squat all against me. Like, there are counters to certain comps, like Yordles, which are kind of invulnerable if you get 6 of them, are still weak to spell damage. Turns out they're weak to glacials, because that's a lot of spell damage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain instances where I don't necessarily feel like I've just gotten better like I would have on the Rift. It just feels like, hey, I got what I needed or I didn't get what I needed. And that's really just it. Not to say that there isn't skill involved. People in Challenger probably do feel like they got there skillfully. And that probably is true. You can lose some games because you tunnel and do certain self-inflicted stuff. Did you roll enough after all, right? If you rolled one more time, it turns out there's that next Leona to get that 2-star Leona or something, so you can frontline better or whatever the case is. But I bring all this up because with Jinx coming in to teamfight tactics, it does mean you could tunnel vision on wanting to just get Jinx every time. And Jinx is powerful, so she is worth going for, but you gotta go into it prioritizing at least a strategy around, what if I don't get Jinx, or what if I can only have even a 1-star Jinx? I can't get 2-star Jinx. Like, what do you do then? You have to have other things in place. Right now, it's get a bunch of gunslingers, as many as possible, to combine with the Jinx, so that way if you do have her at a low level still, she can still pop off. But just don't tunnel vision. That's like the one probably self-inflicted skill that you can wound yourself with, is being like, I gotta go for the 6 Yordles, even though Gnar never shows up literally ever, and now we've lost. And now I'm sitting there like, I needed that Gnar. Well, you could have also pivoted and maybe went Void or something else, right? Like, that's how I discovered Phantoms myself, is because one day I got like Karthus Mordekaiser, and I usually never picked Mordekaiser ever. I thought Mordekaiser was pretty bad unless you can get him at least a 2-star, but then I realized that passive existed, and I'm like, well, I just get Kindred at some point if I can't get Karthus, and then we just pop off. And so there we go. Like, literally the one game I won with the Karthus is because I also had a Kale with a voice crack as well, another voice crack as well, but I also had the Kale. And what ended up happening was Karthus was actually about to die before he could finish channeling his ult. Kale was also about to die, got her ult ready, ulted the Karthus so he could survive through the barrage he was getting, and he ulted the entire enemy team, obliterated them all, and that's part of how I began my snowball and won the whole thing. Was I had Kale and Karthus, both level 5 units you're not supposed to get early. I got one early. I got one when I was supposed to get one, but because I already had the other one, he already had like a Saris Embrace, which made his mana come faster. He had a death cap. It was actually stupid. It was actually dumb. I feel like that shouldn't have been possible, and I feel like, again, it's my overall problem with teamfight tactics at the moment, is I'm like, on the Rift, if I fail, it's like, maybe I could have CS better. Even if I was doing well, maybe I could have pushed my lead harder. I could have did something more. I could have, at the minimum, watched the replay and see, hey, this is why the enemy team chose to do this, because we can see now that we did this, that made them aware we were doing something else on the map, or they knew we were doing Baron. Like, there's a whole thing of things where, yeah, people will say coin flip meta. Let me just say a hot take right there about like Red Mercy and people saying coin flip meta. They're bad. Coin flip meta doesn't exist, okay? There's no one smurfing from Diamond and Silver talking about, oh man, this is a coin flip meta. Or I'll put it this way, the coin flip meta is more like this. Coin flip meta only exists when you're at the elo you're supposed to be at, and the game is going to then force you to need to get better so that you can actually go back to climbing. Wild thought, I know, but basically if you feel like the game's really back and forth that much, there's a good chance you're at the level you're supposed to be at, and you need to quote-unquote get good to be able to keep climbing to get to the next level, right? Which is why I brought the earlier example. If someone is really diamond, they will not be in silver long. They will not be saying coin flip meta. There are some games that are just out of control where you just play them and you're just like, wow, I guess my mid laner really did just die 12 times in 12 minutes. It really do be like that sometimes. And sometimes on the elo, there's a lot of that going around. But ultimately, if you really are as good as either you claim you are or as you play you are, you will climb. Coin flip only exists when you're at the level you're supposed to be at. So when you see that, force yourself to get good. And I hate saying get good because it's always like a negative connotation, but like literally just get better at the game. The coin flip goes away because you'll be able to still climb anyways, right? Like I said, people up in Challenger aren't looking at like Diamond 1 where red is and being like, yeah, that's definitely coin flip meta. If anything, they might say it up at Challenger. At Challenger, I feel like that might be the only other exception because, like, what do you do at that point? That's it. That you climb the mountain. You go pro. If you're not going pro, why did you even go to Challenger? Actually, that's another question or another video for another time. I feel like if I was in Challenger, I would, unless I'm trying to go pro, I wouldn't want to be in Challenger. I don't need the bragging rights that much, right? I got you guys, right? Like I got a great community already, without having to be like the top of Challenger. So I'm kind of content with not going like diamonds as high as I really ever need to be. So with that being said, I've kind of ranted a bit more than I wanted to. Going to Jinx specifically, I will say this though. Some items that you can combine on Jinx and Teamfight Tactics, that will be pretty good. If you don't know these already. Double BF Sword makes Infinity Edge. Infinity Edge, that's a great item to build. Double, what's it called, Recurve Bow makes Rapid Fire Cannon, will increase the range on your gunslingers. That would be very useful too. I believe Recurve Bow and its tier, actually, of the goddess combined to make Static Shiv, another great AoE kind of attack speed item. Runon's Hurricane is an item that exists in the game, but it's historically and considered the worst of the items to build, so we're not going to talk about that, and we're just going to skip it and move on. If you combine BF Sword and the Negatron Cloak, you get Bloodthirster for some lifesteal to go on. And you can have up to 3 items on a champion, by the way, which is why I'm mentioning multiple items. It's not just the one. So if you have attack speed and like Bloodthirster and stuff like that, you're good to go. As we already mentioned, Needlessly Large Rod and Recurve Bow also combine into Rage Blade, which is actually really good on AD carries like Draven, Jinx, Tristana, the attack speed stuff specifically as well. They're going to definitely want that. Some honorable mentions is there are items like GA and stuff like that you can kind of put on there defensively. Again, if you're playing against Blitzcrank and he just hooks your Jinx and you're like, hey, well, I guess she's dead. Haha, she has Guardian Angel. She'll come back to life just to die 2 seconds later anyways, but when someone does die to GA, it forces those units to automatically target another unit. So it might give your Jinx a little bit more time to survive if your front line tears through their front line fast enough and can get to her in time. It's what you see with assassins in general. Like if assassin jumps your back line, but you have like a Braum back there, 2 things happen. One is he'll path to the front line, help kill somebody, and come back to attack the assassin, or the assassin was jumping after Braum because he put him back there as bait to begin with, and he'll attack the assassin right off the bat before your AD carry dies. Something like that. Your AD carry also, if who they're attacking first dies fast enough, usually will turn on the assassin as well. But if there's like 6 assassins, that is a composition. It's just 6 assassins jumping your back line. It's actually disgusting. You're probably dead at that point. But what you want to do is have something back there that will either turn on assassins immediately or after they kill something come back and help you deal with that assassin in the back line. It's why glacial comps, I think, are actually so prominent, is because if you have a bunch of glacials, you just freeze the assassins all the time before they can get their ults off. Because how it works is your mana bar starts at 0, and as you attack and get attacked, it fills up. And when it gets to max, that's when you do your ultimates. Like Katarina, Zed, and stuff like that. They have different ultimates. Katarina's actually her actual ultimate from the Rift, but like Zed is this Q Shuriken, but it does like a lot of damage. Those build up basically when they're in the backline, harassing your AD carries so they can finish them off and do their day. Also, as an assassin, they automatically jump the backline at the beginning of the match, the same way Blitzcrank automatically hooks whoever is furthest away from him, or whoever I don't need him to hook specifically at the beginning of the game. And I don't know, I hate that. Like, I thought I would hate Kale or like vulnerability, something like that. I hate Blitzcrank, because Blitzcrank, he's supposed to hook the furthest person away from him, but sometimes he'll still just hook my AD carry anyways, even if I've moved them, and I don't like that. I hate that entirely. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like that. I don't think that's a good look. I just don't. Because, like, if you're playing in a lobby that has a Blitzcrank player, but also assassin players, you want to put that AD carry in the corner and have a bunch of your units like around them to protect them, to prevent the assassins from having a space to jump your AD carry. Then they can only jump at the front line, and then your AD carry gets to free fire. But if you do that and you play against the Blitzcrank player, he's just going to hook you. And you don't know who you're playing against until you go through the portal. Once you're through the portal, you're not allowed to reposition your units. So it's too late at that point. At that point, you're like, surprise, it wasn't the assassin, it was the Blitzcrank player. So there you go. Or surprise, it wasn't the Blitzcrank player. Now your AD carry's out of position and just gets jumped by Katarina, Zed, Akali, Pyke, Rengar, and Kha'Zix. And they all just take Ashe out. And she's just gone. And you're just like, man, if only I had a more chaotic and archaic AD carry that maybe could have survived with that GA a little longer, and the Jinx, right? So Jinx will be coming to Teamfight Tactics. Those are a couple items, a couple things to watch out for when you're positioning these pieces on the board. If you're someone who hasn't touched Teamfight Tactics and you're going, hey, because Jinx is coming, I actually want to see what this is about. I actually want to try it. I want to see if it's, anything I might like. One thing I will say is two things about Teamfight Tactics. One, it tends to be a lot more chill of a game. People don't really be toxic all that much, because if you're doing bad, it's probably good for them. So they're actually pretty happy and content. It's like the vocal minority thing we talked about. They're not really being very vocal either. They're just silently really happy you're not doing well. So you don't really get flamed by, like, you'd never get flamed unless you have a really stupid comp to play against, like Glacials and Phantoms and a Karthus at like level 2, but even then it's not like flame like on the Rift, which is why I think so many people kind of went and started playing Teamfight Tactics, especially in Diamond Plus and higher and stuff like that. You've probably heard the stories if you haven't experienced it yourself. If you haven't experienced it yourself, basically, especially when Teamfight Tactics first came out, a lot of the more, I don't want to even say just chill, but a lot of the more, I guess, level-headed and reasonable ranked players left to play Teamfight Tactics. So it left this void in ranked where it was just all the salty, raging, and rage quitter people, and it was just a really miserable experience playing ranked, because that's all that was there. People that were just FFing with a triple, all three laners are late game champions, and they want to surrender at 4 minutes already because they're not winning hard. I'm just like, hello? You picked late game champions in every role? Like, Jinx is not going to win the game at 4 minutes. I don't know what you expect, but here we are. You know what I mean? Like, or Jhin, because Jin's pretty cool too. With that being said, like, I think that's something and why that's happened is because it's just a lot more chill. It's a lot more chill with structure. No one really bothers anybody. And you can also play that game with just your mouse. So you can kind of play that game while you eat dinner. Right? Like, if you're laning, you can't eat and see. Well, some of you are going to hear this be like, challenge accepted. But you can't CS properly and eat dinner at the same time. Unless your dinner's like an ice cream bar, you're eating with one hand while you're just CSing with the mouth and the mouse. Like, you're using your mouth to CS with your mouse. That's what I'm saying. But like, you're just clicking CS and you're not having any skills ready to go if you get ganked or anything. Like, maybe, right? But like in general, jungle might be the only actual role that you can eat dinner while you clear camps if you're not ganking, right? With Teamfight Tactics, it's just a chill kind of lean back play, put on some lo-fi hip-hop playlist on YouTube, stream it even, because people still actually really want to watch Teamfight Tactics, which is something I will conclude on, because it's like, as a game mode, how impactful and successful is it? It's very successful, right? Like Nexus Blitz and stuff are modes that we liked. Those modes didn't get their own category on Twitch because when they launched, they ended up being that popular. Those modes didn't prevent people from getting on the PvE for more than 72 hours straight at a time in a queue because of how much people wanted to play it. There are people that quit League of Legends that I've seen come back for Teamfight Tactics. It is very successful, and if it ever hits that mobile market, which is a lot more popular in the eastern regions than it is in the western regions, which is why Western audiences tend to not take mobile all that seriously or complain a lot more about mobile, Teamfight Tactics will definitely be permanent and here to stay. To the point we're going to have to be wondering, when is like Fortnite auto chess coming? Because Dota already has one. I even made a funny skit video. Well, I say funny because I feel like at the end of the day, I gotta like my videos or why I post them. I made a Fortnite auto chess skit video on the other channel. If you do want to go check out the other channel, you will know where to find it as well. Or if not, you can ask in the comments section where is the other channel so I can send you that way. We have done some League skits over there as well if you want to check that out as well. This is just more kind of for this channel in general. It's more just Jinx-centric stuff. So while I might dabble in doing more fun-esque videos, they'll still be Jinx-centered and Jinx-themed, while the more general fun stuff I might do League-wise is going to go on that other channel as well. The idea being that, hey, this channel originally actually was a variety channel that like had Jinx at its core, but it just got to the point where it's been taken over by League of Legends. I understand that. I'm not complaining. The second channel exists, so I can just dump all that variety stuff over on that channel instead. Like, for example, we did a really goofy quote-unquote idea where when Old Town Roads first came out and was super popular, we did it as Goofy from Disney. I did his voice, and I actually did the whole song. I contemplated doing a version of that with Victor from League of Legends. I thought that'd be kind of overkill, and again, it's a bit more of a goofier idea that doesn't really fit the channel anymore, so I didn't end up doing that one, but I can do Victor's voice as well. We used to do Victor videos all the time on this channel, even about Jinx stuff. It'd be Victor narrating about Jinx, and it was fun. We might bring it back if there's interest for it on this channel, but overall, you can guarantee that there will be always Jinx stuff every Wednesday, and I'll try and fit in more Jinx stuff here and there where I see appropriate. But yeah, that's kind of the future for this channel as well. If you're one of the newer people that are here, you expect a lot more Jinx stuff, and I thank you for coming, and I thank you for staying, and I also thank you for sharing. If you're someone who heard the cosplay challenge at the beginning, you're like, I need to jump in on this. I need to show all of my friends this channel so we can get this channel up there by the end of October. And by the end of October, I actually mean the end of Worlds. So if Worlds pushes into the beginning of November like it has the past 2 years, I'll still give you guys that leeway, because most likely it's going to take me time, like I said, to both get in shape and then get the thing together. So it'll probably be like a later, closer to Christmas event anyway. So maybe we'll do it for charity, depending on how big we get, if we get there, right? Like, that's still basically half a year away. A lot can happen, and I don't doubt you guys. I just don't think that's something that people really want to see that much. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, it's a podcast. We're clocking in right now so far at almost 36 minutes. So if you're someone in a ranked game and you haven't been looking at the clock, basically, if you started playing this when your game started and you're playing a late game champion and you didn't get behind, let me tell you, if you have warriors, now's the time. That was an Utapau joke from Star Wars. Basically, if you're a late game scaling champion and you weren't set horribly behind, you're entering the late game. Be prepared to carry, and I hope you win your game. If you were playing an early game champion and you're this part in the game because you didn't close it out, well, I feel sorry for you, but you know what? Games are thrown all the time, and you just got to be willing to catch them. So good luck with that as well. If your game already ended, good luck. Hopefully it was a victory, and that hopefully you caught those W's. I sure as heck need to. I've just been so busy with college. That's what I'll end the video on too. Like, that college thing and the whole bet was based off of why I even brought it up again, was the idea that by then, the next semester will be starting by then, and I'll be a lot more busy because I'm going to try and hunker down, be a really good college student, get some classes out the way. Well, that's kind of already started kind of happening now, which is why videos have been so little. TLDR Patch Notes was the second longest standing continued series on this channel. We hadn't missed a single episode since we started it in season 8, and we took it over from Black Anola. We got his blessing to do it. He put the series down, we picked the series up. It's why we use the same background music that he used to use, because that's the song he recommended to use, and we got permission from him to do the series. So I didn't just steal that from him either. I actually went to him first and talked about doing it. Originally, if you were here then, the series wasn't TLDR Patch Notes out the gates. It was actually a Super Bias AD Carries patch notes, which is basically me going over the patch notes as a super biased AD carry and basically talking about why every change was a bad change against the AD carry class. That wasn't very as popular as just turning it into TLDR patch notes, which is why that change was made. Hadn't missed a single episode. We will be missing patch 9.15. I've just been so busy with college. I am sorry, because there are people that really like that series. It's not gone forever, though. I am announcing that. Even though we did miss that, we will definitely be bringing it back for 9.16. I will find time to do that. The problem, really, with that series and League content in general is that you gotta do it within a certain window, right? Like, I brought up Markiplier and stuff earlier. If you're doing more variety content, and usually evergreen content, which is like timeless content, you can make a video, and that video can be popular forever because hopefully you didn't make it super topical, and as such, it can only be watched in a certain era to be relative or be relevant, right? You can make a video like a let's play or a joke or a skit or whatever, and people can watch that years later and it still be funny because it's been structured in a certain way. Videos like most League content nowadays, like PBE stuff and whatnot, you can't really do that, right? You make a video about a patch, and part of the reason people sensationalize titles is because you gotta get as many people to watch that video as you can for that 2 weeks before a new patch hits, because then that video is kind of dead weight on your channel, and the YouTube algorithm does notice that, hey, here's a lot of videos you've made that just don't get watched anymore. That's bad. It must mean your channel's bad, and so like we're gonna push less of your stuff. And that's the case for everybody, which is why then you see people do the clickbait tactics. It's like, if that's going to be the case, YouTube, well, then I need, as many people to watch per video as possible. So I'm going to say this thing is like a sleeper OP, or I didn't know this thing was super broken, or this is like freelo, or whatever the heck people are doing up at the top echelon of league content creators. You have to do that, unfortunately, because of the way the algorithm works and how it treats those videos that, like, no one's going to go back and watch a video about patch 7.13. All those videos that were made about 7.13 that everybody made back then 2 years ago, they're just dead weight on the channel. So I will say, be a little lenient on some of those titles with that insight. You can still hate them or whatever, but I guess, like, you'd be surprised how many content creators do that also hate doing that. When it comes to this niche, though, it's kind of something you kind of have to do. And I bring that up because TLDR patch notes is kind of the same way. If that's not dropped within the first couple days of the patch notes being dropped, it kind of decreases the need to do it. Outside of that, the fact that people like it, and then I like doing it too. I like challenging myself with something kind of new and kind of branching out into that. So I still end up doing it anyways. But we did miss this one because I've just been so busy with college. And I am sorry because there is a core audience that do like that. But it's not canceled forever. It will be back. Especially if you've seen the Elderwood RE splash art. We're doing something. We have to make some sort of joke about after like we got to do something, right? Like, that's also part of why we didn't get to the episode out, is because I try to make jokes and like funnies about everything, and I just couldn't get it together in time. The editing for it looks like this. I screenshot each individual change on the patch, crop it, paste it over to another thing, layer it, and then save them all as individual slides, and then have to put them all together, and it takes so long that I just didn't have time. I had a final and stuff I took already. I have another one I gotta take pretty soon here. Not that you guys have to care, but just some insight about why we're kind of always down to this 1 a week video thing, when we were at like 5 videos a week and almost 7 at one point. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's a little bit insight on that, where that's going, the future of the channel, all that other stuff, Project Jinx, Teamfight Tactics. And now we're actually at 41 minutes. Baron probably has respawned, by the way, just a heads up. So, but we're going to end the video. Go steal that Baron and go win that game. Go ahead, 1v5. They can't stop you. You're Yasuo. You've hit that power spike finally, where you have your 2 items. It doesn't matter how many times you've died. You have 2 crit items. You have a 100% crit chance. You can land that tornado on someone other than the tank Gragas, and then reactively press R anyways, right? There you go. Go win your game. Go win your promos. Have a good day. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, the actual subscribe button. But I don't know which video will be next, because life can have a lot of kinks. So until this time, take care. GG, get jinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly.